I remember talking to the CEO, Noah, and he's like, hey, so what bank account do I wire the deposit into? And me and Mike like, we need to create a bank account right now. Hey everyone, this is John.
Hey everyone, this is Mike.
I'm John, I'm one of the co-founders here at Hatch Duo.
And I'm the other co-founder, partner here at Hatch Duo.
And today we're here to kind of reintroduce ourselves. It's been a minute. We've been hard at work. Our team has been working on some really fun projects, some stuff we're super excited to share with you guys in the near future. Today we're just kind of coming back on here to just tell you guys what Hatch Duo is about, give you a little background history. We thought it'd be fun because we got a lot of new subscribers on our channel now. Thank you so much. And again, if you haven't already, subscribe down below. And yeah, we'll get started.
Wow, this is going to be a trip down memory lane, John.
I know.
It's been over 5 years since we've started Hatch Duo. Where shall we begin?
Why don't we tell them how we first met those many years ago, and maybe how we ended up becoming friends and partnering up.
All right, so let's see. In 2014, I joined a company called Ubiquity Networks, and I was one of the mechanical engineers at that company. I was designing a lot of enterprise products, PTZ cameras. A year later, John joins the program as an industrial designer. And you know, I'm thinking, what is an industrial designer, and who is this guy that's coming in that they're bringing on?
I basically was brought to Ubiquity to kind of build out their North American consumer product division. Actually, one of the first I was the only industrial designer for North America, and I got to team up with really talented engineers and folks like Mike. And so on one of the programs called Front Row, which was a consumer, almost kind of like a point of view camera, streaming camera, similar to, you know, GoPro or Snap glasses. We worked on that together, and through that we became really good friends. Got into a lot of arguments over DFM stuff as well. And yeah, but through that, you know, some of those conflicts happen, but you become pretty good friends many times. So I guess everyone's probably wondering, well, like, how did you get from that to, you know, entrepreneurship? And I can kind of give the short answer to that because there's plenty of different videos if you guys go in there to see how we went about that. But I think it really started with Mike and I deciding, you know, at a point in our career, we were kind of young. I didn't have children at the time yet, and it was like, hey, like, if we're gonna, you know, do what's, you know, the stereotypical Silicon Valley thing to do is to like run a startup or start your own company. And if we're gonna do it, this is probably now the time to do it. And so I think shortly at the end of, I would say 2016, I left Ubiquity, and shortly after Mike left as well, and we started a company called Aggregate. Aggregate is a lifestyle goods brand. We started out selling concrete watches, so the whole ethos of the brand is being unconventional and using unconventional materials and aggregating them together. And so it was really cool. We ran a Kickstarter campaign. We raised a significant amount of money, enough to get a manufacturing run started. Mike was in China. I joined him later in China. My wife was expecting our first child at the time. It was a crazy time. I moved next to Mike. There's a whole video episode series on California by Design, actually. You guys can look at the link over here, and you can check out that story. But like, long story short, we built a business together. It's kind of like having a baby together in a weird kind of way. Yeah. And but from that, you know, a lot of those funds from that Kickstarter campaign really went towards product. And living in Silicon Valley, it's that cost of living is extreme, and so we needed to pay rent, we needed to pay bills. I had a kid on the way, and so we kind of reverted back to our skill set, which for him was engineering. So he started to take on some freelance projects. He was doing some consulting. I did as well. So we were consulting separately on the side, freelancing, making our own money to basically pay rent. And then at night we would meet, we would DoorDash together, get on calls with the Chinese factories for our watches, stuff like that. It was a really crazy time. But I think what it ended up was we became accidental agency owners, right? Because some of these freelance clients, like I think we went to an event one time and we're like, hey, this client, they needed both, right? They needed engineering and they needed industrial design. And so we're like, hey, let's just freelance together. So we basically started another company together.
Yeah.
Mike and I really sat down and kind of defined what Hatch Duo's vision was, and ultimately our overarching vision is to influence the world through design, right? We didn't want to be just another consultancy. I think the Bay Area has its fair share of very talented consultancies. You know, the audience probably can name quite a few. For us, while we admire those firms and think they're very talented, we didn't really want to just be like the same. So I think our philosophy really is, at least in the beginning and even now, like we really want to revolutionize different categories with design. So that meant really taking a dive into working particularly with startups, early stage startups in particular, because that was where all the fun was, right? Not that large corporations don't do innovative stuff, it just takes them longer. And I just think like for us and our interests, where our interests were, startup spaces where the action was, so to speak. And so we got to work on really cool things like AI scribes, like the Robin Healthcare thing, drones, smart sex toys, IoT plant sensors, beauty tech where you're using electrocurrent to remove wrinkles in the skin. Obviously audio, I have an audio background, so we get a lot of like headphones and stuff like that. EEG, brain controller interface. So we get a lot of really cool tech that comes through here, and you know, Hatch Duo has always been experimenting too, right? We really stand for trying to adopt technology quickly. So we're, you know, the minute Web3 and Metaverse and all that stuff is coming out, and NFTs, we were experimenting with that, figuring out how to potentially work with blockchain or NFTs, and then also like just Metaverse, you know, virtual worlds, things like that. But yeah, like we just have a lot of fun here now with the pioneering of AI. We've really integrated that across all of our operations, not just design and engineering, but even like in sales. Like April uses AI just even to take notes for her, right, in meetings, you know, fireflies, things like that. So our firm, we're young, we're fresh, and we really try to augment ourselves with technology to kind of accelerate ourselves.
Right. And then speaking of startups, and what attracts us most to that is not only the excitement, but also the open-mindedness, right, for the ability to adopt new technologies and take on, I think, more risks than a normal corporation would be willing to take. Exactly. So that allows us to be able to introduce, you know, things that are new to market. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's a loaded question. I think Hatch Duo now is currently a 12-person firm. We have a team of engineers and industrial designers, mixture of, you know, I think even UI UX. We have biomimicry capabilities. In terms of the firm size, that's where we are. In terms of where we're headed, I believe it is towards the AI direction, where will eventually become an AI augmented firm. As John,
we already are.
I mean, yeah.
In many ways.
In many ways, but I think we're going to incorporate more AI tools and capabilities within our arsenal. You'll see more of that in the coming months. And secretly, we're working, well, not a secret anymore, but we are working on an AI software tool of our own.
Yep. And just to add to that, like where we're headed, I think we're really just trying to influence the world for better with design, right? So whether that means through the design work that we do on the clients that we work with, to just making videos about our thoughts on videos like this, to starting new ventures in AI like Mike and myself are doing right now. But yeah, I think where Hatch Duo is going to head.
Honestly, I think Hatch Duo is one of the few firms out there that's actually staying ahead of the curve and being relevant with everything that's happening. So when Metaverse and blockchain was a thing, like we had one of the first Metaverse offices for a design studio, where we showcased a lot of our past projects. We had a meeting space. It was like a digital studio of our own in the Metaverse. And then now the AI machine learning being a big thing, I feel like we're being relevant there. We're staying relevant.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage of Hatch Duo, right? We're always relevant with the newest technologies, and we're not afraid to apply it for the better for our clients. We move pretty quickly, so.
We experiment internally before we actually put it to practice.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining Mike and myself here with just this reintroduction to us as founders and Hatch Duo. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to respond. We always like getting messages from you guys. And yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe again below.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button and leave any comments below, and we'll see you in our next video. Let's hatch awesome.
Yeah.